Good morning, seculars, or afternoon or evening, whenever you're tuning in. I am your host, Sunny Secular. Welcome to Secular Minority Podcast. On this podcast, we give a non-religious, humanist perspective on things happening around the world. We conduct interviews, share stories, speak on issues and rights. We present a safe place for all minorities, no matter the ethnicity, orientation, label, or non-label. There is no shunning here. Consider this as your home. This week, we're going to be talking about cults. Yes, cults. But before we get into that topic, let me remind you that if you are watching this on YouTube, go to secularminority.com. There will be a link if you're thinking about starting your own podcast. The link will give you to Buzzsprout, which is what I use. When you press the link, it'll let Buzzsprout know that I sent you. And you will also get a $20 Amazon gift card when you sign up for one of their paid programs, which happens to be under $20. It helps to support the show, and also you can use the gear that you have. All you need is a quiet space, and you'll be able to upload your own podcast. With Buzzsprout, they have videos where you can look and do step by step. You can also call them and chat with them if you have any problems, and they will help you. And if you're thinking about upgrading your equipment, they can help you with that too. So just join me and thousands of other podcasters who use Buzzsprout. Push that link today. Also, consider supporting the podcast or the channel by becoming a member on Buy Me a Coffee. The link will be down below. It's a company that's similar to Patreon. You could do a one-time coffee donation, or you could become a member where you receive non-public articles, movie reviews, and other deals that are exclusively by me. Now, before we get into the topic, we are going to touch bases on what's going on around the news, okay? So first things first, on Friday the 13th, yes, Friday was Friday the 13th, but it wasn't really bad luck day because according to the UN Women on Twitter, Friday was also World Kindness Day. And some of the things that they suggested, I'm going to just read it here from the UN Women. It says, for World Kindness Day, you can buy someone flowers, call a loved one, deliver groceries to your neighbor, write a greeting card, motivate a friend who needs a boost, tutor a student who needs help, or make face masks and give them away. I think that's awesome. World Kindness Day. Maybe every day should be World Kindness Day. Another thing that's trending on Twitter is the fact that coronavirus for a lot of places are going into their second lockdown now. Yes, the second lockdown. The coronavirus is getting worse in the United States. As a matter of fact, there's a group that's called Doctors Without Borders. And what they do is they try to help places where COVID-19 is more rapid and out of control. Well, 2 days ago, they came to the United States. Yes, in the United States, COVID is so out of control that Doctors Without Borders were called to help us here. And can you believe that even though all of that is going on, people still refuse to wear a mask? Another thing that happened in the news not too long ago was the fact, well, let's just let Echo tell you what happened. Shall we? One moment, please. Let me pull it up here. Let's see what just happened a couple of days ago.
46th president? The 46th president of the United States is Joe Biden, who will take office on January 20th, 2021.
All right. Thank you, Echo. And that's all for the news that's trending right now. Now for our main topic, cults. This topic is kind of hard for me because of the fact that I have come in contact with a lot of people who are ex cult members, and their stories do collaborate with one another, even though they have been in different organizations. The main reason why I decided to do a podcast about that cults is because I think that technically speaking, a lot of people don't understand what cults are and how they operate. So I was like, okay, maybe I need to just address this issue and try to say things in, I'm not going to say a more simplified manner. I'm just going to say in a way that maybe more will understand. Uh, Let me tell you about this article that I came across the other day, and it'll just give you an idea. Okay, let's see. The article is, I want to get it right, and of course, I'm going to have the link down below so that you can see the article for yourself. Let me pull that up right quick. Okay, so the article is, it says, the article is DESERET.com/Utah, the desert news in their area. And the article states that the Utah High Court weighs a case where a woman said that a church made her listen to an audio of her own rape to distinguish whether or not she was, quote unquote, a sinner. And this really bothered me to see this article. This article was by Annie Knox on November the 9th, 2020. There was an incident where the young lady reported that, this is so hard, the male leaders of the Jehovah's Witness congregation forced a 15-year-old girl to listen to the recordings of a man raping her in 2008 and still going through the courts now as we speak in 2020. And I just found that very disturbing. Not only for the fact that they didn't believe her and she had to have proof, but that she was a child. And this organization is known for hiding child predators, even transferring them to different, what they call congregations across the United States. So I decided to make my podcast today on cults. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull up the definition of a cult. Now, each article has different definitions of a cult, but it's basically going to be the same thing. The article that I'm using is cultresearch.org, and it's called "How Do Cults Start Up?" So it says here that there are 4 dimensions to a cult group. Number 1, there's a charismatic leader, someone who is charming, yet has an authority figure, and it could be one person or 8 who is considered the leader. They go out and recruit other people, or they have other followers recruit other people to build up their aura and giving them more believability for them to be the leader. Number 2, they have a transcendent belief system, and I'm reading this straight from the article. So that means for them to have that belief system, it's going to be, in order for you to be part of the group, you have to go through something called a transformational process, which They dictate to you what you can and cannot do. Then they have a system of control and a system of influence. So, yeah, that's what that says for the cultresearch.org. There's also something that I wanted to share. There's a book by the author Stephen Hassan. That's Steven Hassan, Hassan, Stephen Hassan. Sorry about that. And his book is called Combating Cult Mind Control. And in his book, he also talks about some of the four types of cults. The four types that he mentions in his book is religious cults. We've heard about those, of course. Political cults, psychotherapy cults, and also commercial cults. And when you get that book, you're going to go to chapter 3 and you're going to find out about those types of cults. But if you go to chapter 4, he talks about what's called the B.I.T.E model. Now, the B.I.T.E model is what he uses the lettering B.I.T.E. It's going to stand for B, behavioral control, I, information control, T, thought control, and E, emotional control. If you belong to an organization that's controlling these aspects of your life, the way you behave about certain matters or certain things, they usually tell you what you should wear or how you should look, or, you know, for women, it should be a certain thing. For men, it should be a certain thing. They control your behavior. That's what a lot of cults do. The I, the information control, a lot of these cults will control the type of information that comes to you. They may even have things like their own television or radio broadcasting. They may have their own music. They may have their own videos and things like that. It'll all be surrounded around their organization or their religion or their views, and it will further ingrain in your head what you should be doing in order to be with them. Quote, the inside and not the outside. The thought control, they want to tell you how you should think about things or what you should think about things. They tell you what to think, not how to think. And the last but not least, the emotional control, that speaks for itself. They're going to tell you things that frighten you more than likely. Oh, the end is coming tomorrow, or the end is coming soon, or it's the end days, or the end is coming. They do things based on fear. The more fear you have, the more control that they have over you. That's going by Stephen Hassan's B.I.T.E model. It always surprises me when a lot of people say, oh, well, my organization is not a cult. The word organization in itself is absolutely telling you that it's something that's within the organization, within. You always have a desire to be in something. You want to belong to something. And in order to belong to them, then you would have to follow their rules, their regulations, and you can't have any time to yourself in order to evaluate what's really going on, in order to look at other articles or information and things like that. And you cannot, more than likely, with a lot of these religions or political parties or things like that, if you challenge the ideas in any type of way, then they're quick to put you out so that you don't, quote unquote, infect the others with your crazy ideas. All of these things are designed to keep you in line and keep you in check. Now, if you want to go to the dictionary point of view of cult, we could pull that up right now. So we could just go to, let's say, the Merriam Dictionary. All right? Let's put up the Merriam Webster's Dictionary. We all have heard of that before. The definition of a cult is a religion regarding an unorthodox or spurious. Sorry about that. It's a great devotion to a person, idea, object, movement, or work. It's a small group of people characterized by such devotion, a system of religion beliefs and rituals. That's what they have in the Merriam Dictionary as a cult. Now, if you want to know where it originates from, it says cult shares an origin with culture or cultivate, coming from the Latin cultus, cultus, a noun meaning ranging from tilting, cultivation to training or education. In English, cult has evolved a number of meanings following a fairly logical path. In the 17th century, it was denoted as worship. By the early 18th century, cult could refer to a non religious admiration or devotion to a person, idea, or fad. All right, that's what I have available. If you're interested in that book, um, Combating Cult Mind Control by Stephen Hassan, he is available on Amazon and other outlets. You can download it on Audible as well. Now, we talked about what a cult was. We talked about the definition. We talked about the B.I.T.E model. And we talked about ways how cults can control you. But what we didn't talk about was how somebody can leave a cult. If you think that you're in a cult, or if you think that you're in any type of situation where someone is controlling either the way you dress, the way you think about other people, or the way you basically live your life. Now, leaving is not going to be easy, but you can be strong and leave for, if not yourself, if you have siblings or if you have children, you can leave for them as well. A lot of cults will try to put you in a situation where if you leave, then you'll be cut off from family or friends, or if that's all you known is the people in the cult, then you have a fear of being all alone and not knowing what to do in the world. Just know that you are stronger than what you think you are, and you can survive anything that comes your way. You just have to believe in yourself. It's going to be a day by day situation. You're going to have good days as well as bad days. But there will be nothing like the relief of being your own person and not being controlled by an organization or a group of people or just one person. Being able to be who you want to be is going to be the best feeling that you'll ever have in your entire life. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say, well, you don't have to be afraid of life in general, because there are some scary times in life where you might feel that it's a little bit too much. But just know that you yourself are strong enough to be able to get through anything. It just takes one step and then the next step to get out of that door, out of that situation, out of that group. You can even fade out slowly, little by little. Start looking at information from different books. Start looking at information from different sites. Start listening to other people's stories and how they overcame it. Don't forget that if it gets a lot of, if your feelings get overwhelmed, you can always seek out a therapist. There's nothing wrong with talking to someone to get your feelings out. As a matter of fact, talking about them helps you not only be able to hear for yourself the things that you have been holding in inside of you, but it also helps you to think about resolutions. And the person you're talking to, the therapist, who's been doing it for years, they may also have solutions for you in order for you to get through things little by little, day by day. I hope this helps for you. Well, we've come to the end of this episode 10 of season 2. If you're not listening to this on the website, make sure you check out secularminority.com for the show notes, the links, resources, and more. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can find me, Sunny Secular, on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. Say it with me, family. I'm special, I'm smart, and I matter. Peace and love.